Welcome. Tonight we delve into the heart of a tragedy, a recent airline crash that claimed many lives. Our focus is not to sensationalize but to understand it. We'll examine the events leading up to the crash and explore the ongoing investigation seeking answers. It's about honoring the memory of those lost by seeking the truth. We owe it to the victims, their families, and ourselves to learn from this disaster. So, let's begin. It began like any other flight, routine, ordinary. Passengers settling in, perhaps glancing out the window at the world shrinking beneath them. But high above the ground, danger lurked. A flock of birds, an everyday occurrence in aviation, became an imminent threat. One, perhaps more, collided with the aircraft. This wasn't just a glancing blow, it was a significant impact enough to jolt the plane. Bird strikes, while common, can have devastating consequences depending on the point of impact and the size of the bird. In this case, the bird strike severely damaged the plane's landing gear. The metal mangled, hydraulic lines potentially severed, the plane's ability to touch down safely was now in jeopardy. The pilots, no doubt, went through emergency checklists, attempting to assess the damage and maintain control of the aircraft. As the plane approached the airport, the gravity of the situation intensified. The damaged landing gear cast a long shadow over the flight's final moments. The pilots, battling the crippled aircraft and the ticking clock, prepared for a landing they knew would be anything but routine. The control tower was alerted. Emergency crews scrambled into position, hearts pounding, racing against time. The tension on the ground mirrored the desperate struggle unfolding in the cockpit. The moment of truth arrived. The landing gear, damaged and unreliable, failed to deploy properly. The pilots, now facing a nightmare scenario, were forced to consider a risky maneuver, a belly landing. It was a last resort, a high-stakes gamble with lives hanging in the balance. The pilots, drawing on their training and experience, would have fought to maintain control, to keep the plane as stable as possible as it descended. Inside the cabin, panic would have set in. The plane, its belly scraping against the unforgiving concrete, skidded off the runway. The sound of metal grinding against pavement was deafening. Sparks flew, a shower of fire erupting in the wake of the mangled metal. The impact, when it came, would have been violent. Passengers, bracing themselves, would have been thrown against their seats, their belongings scattering around them. The cabin, once a sanctuary in the sky, was now a scene of chaos and fear. The plane careened off the runway, its momentum carrying it towards a concrete barrier. The impact with the barrier sent shockwaves through the aircraft. The fuselage crumpled, metal groaning under the immense pressure. Inside, the lights flickered, then died, plunging the cabin into darkness. The smell of jet fuel permeated the air, a potent reminder of the danger that lurked. The fire, ignited by the impact, began to spread, fueled by the ruptured fuel lines and the debris scattered around the crash site. The fire, now a raging inferno, engulfed the wreckage, spreading rapidly and uncontrollably. Flames danced across the fuselage, licking at the windows, turning the once pristine aircraft into a twisted, molten shell. The heat was so intense that it seemed to warp reality itself. The heat was intense, suffocating, making it nearly impossible to breathe or see clearly. It melted metal, scorched the earth, and turned the air itself into a burning, choking miasma. The ground beneath the wreckage was charred and blackened, a testament to the fire's ferocity. Inside the cabin, the fire created a living hell, with seats and luggage igniting in a matter of seconds. Smoke filled every nook and cranny, stealing the breath from those who still clung to life. The acrid smell of burning materials was overwhelming. The flames, relentless in their advance, consumed everything in their path, leaving nothing but destruction in their wake. The structural integrity of the plane, already compromised by the crash, began to fail under the onslaught of the fire. Metal groaned and twisted, unable to withstand the relentless heat. The fuselage, once a symbol of strength and engineering, buckled and twisted, offering little protection to those trapped within. It was a scene of utter devastation. Emergency crews, arriving at a scene of utter devastation, were met by a wall of fire and smoke. Their training and bravery were put to the ultimate test. They fought their way through the inferno, their courage fueled by a desperate hope of finding survivors. Every second counted, and every moment was a battle against the relentless flames. In the wake of the tragedy, a desperate search for answers began. The air was thick with tension and sorrow as the reality of the disaster set in. Investigators, their faces etched with grim determination, descended upon the crash site. Each step they took was a step closer to uncovering the truth, their mission to piece together the events that led to this catastrophic loss. Every fragment of debris, every twisted piece of metal held a clue. Their focus turned to the black boxes, the silent guardians of truth in aviation disasters. These devices were their best hope. These near-indestructible devices, designed to withstand even the most catastrophic crashes, hold the key to understanding what happened in those final, fateful moments. They are the silent witnesses to the tragedy. But there was a problem, a significant, unforeseen obstacle that no one had anticipated. The black boxes recovered from the wreckage had stopped recording just 4 minutes before the crash. Those crucial minutes were lost. It was a devastating blow to the investigation, a cruel twist of fate that deepened the mystery surrounding the disaster. 4 minutes, an eternity in the context of an investigation, 120 seconds. A brief moment in time, yet so critical, a lifetime in the context of a plane crash. The emotional weight of those missing minutes was palpable. The missing data left a void, a gaping hole in the narrative that investigators were desperately trying to construct. It was like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. The search for answers continued, but the silence of the black boxes cast a long shadow over the investigation. The team pressed on, determined to find the truth despite the setbacks. The investigation, hampered by the loss of crucial black box data, became a painstaking exercise in forensic analysis. The team faced an uphill battle, knowing that every second lost could mean a clue slipping through their fingers. Every piece of debris, every scorch mark, every recovered fragment of the aircraft became a potential clue. Each fragment told a story, a piece of the puzzle that could lead to the truth. Investigators, experts in their fields, pored over the wreckage, meticulously documenting, photographing, and analyzing every detail. Their expertise was crucial, as they sought to reconstruct the final moments of the ill-fated flight. They scrutinized radar data, air traffic control recordings, and weather reports, searching for any anomaly, any indication of what might have gone wrong. Each piece of data was a potential lead, a thread that could unravel the mystery. The missing black box data loomed large over the investigation, a constant reminder of the limitations they faced. It was a shadow that hung over their efforts, a gap in the narrative they were trying to piece together. Experts worked tirelessly to recover any salvageable information from the damaged recorders, hoping for even a fragment of data that could shed light on those crucial final minutes. The pressure was immense, the stakes incredibly high. The world was watching, waiting for answers, demanding accountability. The media coverage was relentless, adding to the pressure on the investigation team. The families of the victims deserved to know what happened to their loved ones, why their lives were cut short so tragically. Their grief was palpable, their need for closure undeniable. The investigators, driven by a sense of duty and a thirst for truth, left no stone unturned. Their determination was unwavering, their commitment to finding the truth absolute. As the investigation progressed, the focus expanded beyond the aircraft itself to encompass the airport's role in the tragedy. Was the airport, its design, its infrastructure, a contributing factor to the severity of the crash? The runway, where the plane had made its desperate belly landing, came under intense scrutiny. Was it long enough? Were there adequate safety zones to accommodate an aircraft in distress? Was the condition of the runway a factor in the plane's inability to stop before careening off the tarmac? The concrete barrier, the last line of defense against a runway overrun, became another focal point. The goal was not just to understand what happened, but to learn from it, to improve airport safety, to minimize the risk of such a catastrophe ever happening again. This tragedy, like all aviation disasters, served as a stark reminder of the importance of constant vigilance, of striving for the highest standards of safety in an industry where even the smallest error can have catastrophic consequences. The investigation, though still ongoing, has already yielded valuable lessons. The importance of bird strike prevention measures, for instance, has been thrust into the spotlight. Airports and airlines are being urged to review and enhance their mitigation strategies, from habitat management to technological deterrence. The crash also highlighted the need for aircraft to be more resilient, particularly during critical phases of flight, like landing. The design of landing gear systems, the materials used, the backup systems in place, All these aspects are being re-examined with an eye towards improving their robustness and redundancy. This tragedy, though heartbreaking, has the potential to be a catalyst for positive change. Tonight, we remember the victims of this tragedy, the passengers and crew whose lives were cut short, the families and friends left behind to grieve, the first responders who faced unimaginable horrors with courage and compassion. Their loss serves as a somber reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of striving for a world where such tragedies are prevented. This investigation, though complex and challenging, has the potential to be a turning point in aviation safety. By learning from the mistakes of the past, by embracing new technologies, and by fostering a culture of unwavering commitment to safety, the aviation industry can honor the memory of those lost by making the skies safer for everyone. Thank you for watching. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.